Boker Tov, everyone. Shavua Tov. Please God, a good new week. Try to give a short teaching for this Yom Rishon, first day of the new week. Another week in this. Here's my teaching. Praying for Passover. Passover perhaps like none other in a few weeks. So Passover's on my brain, and I'm doing things with Rabbi Jenny, prepare teachings and ideas for Passover Seders, things we're gonna pass on to you, and obviously do them remotely and virtually. So here's a teaching. According to the Torah and the story of Exodus, and the famous story, the story of the Jewish people, we're enslaved in Egypt and 400 years of bondage, and eventually make our way out, and with Moses, Aaron, Miriam, eventually with up to 10 plagues, etc. Many of you know the story very well. To be free, to make our way towards the promised land and make it towards freedom. There's a comparison just in the first central chapter or chapters between a couple major characters. Now, the characters you're used to, Moses, Miriam, Pharaoh, they're all important. But I want to make a comparison here between Pharaoh and the two women who saved lives, Shiphrah and Puah. So Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who saw himself as a god, who, according to the Midrash, created himself. When he's asked, who created the world and who created you, Pharaoh, he says, I created myself, I created the world, was an oppressor. He was the epitome, not only in the Torah, but in the commentaries, as being, quote unquote, selfishness. Selfishness embodied is Pharaoh. All about what he wants, all about what he thinks is best for his people, his community, whatever, and he could care less about anyone else, particularly the Hebrews. And he oppresses them. That is Pharaoh, king of selfishness. But he makes a decree that the first Hebrew-born males shall be killed. He tells these two women, Shiphrah and Puah, who there's some confusion, but it appears were actually also Egyptian women who served as midwives for the Jewish community, using anachronism, but the Hebrew community. They, when the babies would come out, they refused to follow the selfish Pharaoh's decree. They saved the babies, helped birth them and hide them. And when Pharaoh asked, what's happening? How come all these children are being born? What's going on? They claimed, a lie, that the Hebrew women are so strong, it happens too quickly, we can't seem to stop it. Basically, they were on the front lines of the opposite of selfishness. They were selfless. They were willing to risk their own lives to save the lives of people that they didn't even necessarily know well, but that they served. So Pharaoh is the king of selfishness and all about himself, his needs, without regard for others. Shiphrah and Puah are the opposite. These two women that go out and stand up against an evil decree and give themselves, living on the front lines in many ways like our first responders now, willing to go out to save other people's lives. These two women put their risk against from selflessness. They represent to selfishness versus Pharaoh. And the end that we see with the Torah, what the Torah values, is whose name is actually in the Torah. Pharaoh, our scholars can tell you which Pharaoh it was, which Pharaoh is referring to. We actually don't know Pharaoh's name. It's just Pharaoh. But Shiphrah and Puah, these two powerful women, we know their names for eternity as they're written in the Torah. So in this time, I think the message for all of us, such a key moment, is for all of us to be like Shiphrah and Puah and don't be like Pharaoh. To be like Pharaoh means to hoard. To be like Pharaoh means to not take seriously social and physical distancing. To be like Pharaoh, to say, I'm going to do what I'm going to do for me, my family, as much hand sanitizer I can have, and forget everybody else. But Shiphrah and Puah say, no, what's good for all? What's good for the world? What will save lives? What can I do in my small part of the world to make a difference? For some of us, that's going to be stepping back, hiding, hunkering down. And some of us actually can be giving blood, donating, helping with logistics if possible, doing things virtually to help others. That's being like Shifra and Puah. And that's who the Torah gives the highest honor of being recorded in the Torah forever. So on this new day, I wish everyone strength to be like Shifra and Puah, push down the forces of Pharaoh, and may we all step another step closer towards letting Shifra and Puah's light feed the world. Amen. Boker Tov. Have a wonderful day.